Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com.
Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here, your host. Of course, I am in the midst of making all the last social postings to make sure that everyone in the world knows that we're live right now. Not that they care, but hey, we should feel like they do. So that's the way we make it work. Of course, Seat Time brought to you and presented by the fine folks at Fly Racing. I got my Fly Racing hat on, but that's to cover up the hair that hasn't been fixed in I don't know how many days. Probably at least 2 weeks since I've got a cast on, which sucks, but we're making it work. And then, of course, my Team USA support the guys over in Košice, Slovakia, as they are at the 90th running of the International Six Day Enduro, which we are going to do a lot of talking about tonight, so that'll be a good time. So thank you very much to Fly Racing for their longevity in supporting us. We really, really appreciate that. Definitely check out flyracing.com. We did talk with Jason JT Money from a couple of different Jason Thomas from a couple different episodes ago about the new 2016 gear that came out. There's a lot of epic shit there that they've done, a lot of really cool technology that they've brought in. And granted, I haven't had a chance to ride in it yet because of the leg, but I really do think that the things like the BOA strap and the way that the vents work, that it's going to be the best gear that they've created yet, and it's going to keep getting better. So check out flyracing.com. Of course, big thanks to Kenda Tire USA, so kendatire.com. Go check those guys out. You notice when we did the TKO, lots of talk about the Equilibrium tire. There's actually started to see some reviews out there. I know like Highland Cycles, I think I noticed on Facebook, a couple dudes from Colorado were talking about their experience on the Equilibrium tire. So definitely, if you haven't read reviews or checked out results on that kind of stuff, go do that, or head over to kendatire.com, head to your local dealer, and ask that you want to try to get the Kenda Equilibrium on your motorcycle and purchase it. So that's the way to do that. And of course, Stillwell Performance. So Stillwell Performance would be awesome off-road suspension. Of course, if you're in the motocross industry and you want to be able to use great suspension, that'd be a good one to do. But obviously, they very much do a great job in the off-road industry. That's where kind of Alan got his start with Cody Webb, Max Gersten, and those guys. And then, of course, now moved on to kind of the beta team as Cody has moved on to the RPM team and those other suspension products that are out there. So go check out stillwellperformance.com. Have fun with Alan and the guys over there and let them know that we said hi, and there may be a little benefit in there for you guys. So check it out. Have fun with it. So we have been gone for 2 weeks. The reason that we've been gone is because of the surgery that I had. We didn't really know how that would go. Recovery went way better than expected. So because of that, we could have done a show last week, but it was just a good chance to get a good break. I know Steven probably used this to keep preparing for the baby that's soon to be coming. I used to go to sleep a little bit earlier. That's always fun. Hope everybody had an awesome Labor Day. I really didn't do much. I wouldn't expect to do much because of the leg, but F it, whatever. We're having fun with that. So this is Seat Time. We are archived all over the place. The site is seattime.co. Of course, Stitcher and iTunes. If you'd like audio only for a podcast version, subscribe to us on YouTube. Steven and I do have a lot of videos that are actually still in the works, like Seat Time Adventures. We got a new cool product video coming out soon for a client, if you will, that we have chose to make a client, right, Steven? And then other things like that. So that's a good way to find out about that. Of course, we did add the chat room widget to the live page. So if you want to jump in the chat room, ask some questions as we talk about this, maybe add to the discussion. Well, I wouldn't say we have writers on tonight. We really just have industry people that want to talk about some of the things that are going on with the ISDE, and then, of course, rider nutrition, because of these multi-day events. It's pretty intense what your body's going to go through, and you need to make sure you're fueled properly. So that'll be fun to talk to Coach Seiji a little bit after that. When you go to the site, seattime.co, you'll notice there's now a shop tab. If you haven't checked out the drop catches there, please do so. Yeah, they're $50, but what you don't get is there's a huge bitchin' earth mat in there, and it's custom milled with the Seat Time logo. So you get a bitchin' product that is bitchin'. It's really fun. I've gave one away at a wedding shower this past weekend, and it became the hit of the wedding shower. Everybody just wanted to go over and open their beer just to kind of like play with it and see what happens. So it's a lot of fun. Remember, give us reviews. We're periscoping right now, if you will, streaming on the Periscope. So have fun with that. And if you do go to the website and you shop on Amazon, there's a little button that says Support Seat Time, Shop Amazon. You just click that, go purchase whatever you want on Amazon, and it literally just gives us tiny percentages of that. The idea is that after so long that could help us a little bit more, get to races, get more footage, and get more coverage for you guys to be bringing into the show. That's what we hope. I'm sorry but it's been a long-ass time since we've really cleaned house, and it needed to be done. So thank you very much. Now, Mr. Jason Hooper, I apologize as well to you for making you sit there and listen to all that, but you're sexy. Luckily enough, your eyes were just glaring into mine, and it was fun. So what the hell's going on, man? Are you doing okay in life?
Yeah, I can't complain, man. Life's good. Actually, a little bit of downtime for me the past few weeks, so which is nice. I was on the road for like 5 straight weeks, so it's nice being home and doing like normal stuff, but about ready to get back on the road, so it's good.
Right? Yeah, that I can imagine with some of the schedules, especially when full gas is kind of literally going full steam, and then you're going back and forth GNCCs, and then of course the TKO that we ran into each other at. That's got to get pretty intense and not just troublesome for you sometimes, but it's probably tough with the family as well, hey?
Yeah, it's not easy at all, because I had a race a couple weeks before Loretta Lynn's, so I went straight from there to Loretta Lynn's, and I had to produce the live feed that they did there at Loretta's for the amateur motocross. Went straight from Loretta's to another one of my races, finished that up, and then went straight to TKO, and then came back. So dude, I don't know. My wife's about ready to murder me. We got a toddler running around here, so she was flying solo for a while there, which she wasn't loving that so much. So.
It's never easy, and that's the thing is our wives are saints for that kind of stuff because everybody asks, how do you do it, man? How are you able to get so much done in life? And I go, because I have a fantastic wife. Like nobody gets that is the main key point to make sure that I can kind of do and try to build and grow upon some of the stuff that I'm doing is that my wife is so understanding and she's allowing me to help try to grow, all of these aspects of the media industry that we are. So I imagine that you feel exactly the same.
Did you say understanding or very angry?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Yes. No, solid point. And I concur and agree completely.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. Yeah. She's up there every night. She's probably like there with like a butcher knife, just like, I'm going to fucking bop at your ass, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
But,
I'll tell you, buying a motorhome is the best money I've ever spent in my life. It's made it a lot better for us to be able to, bring the wife and kid along and stuff. So.
Nice. Yeah,
if it wasn't for that, she probably would have killed me by now.
Right. Yeah, we were in a 7x14 utility trailer for a while when Liam came along, and so like the first time that Liam had like a big old, oh my god, we need running water to clean up all the poop. Like that was when we were like, nope, until we have running water, we're just not doing the family thing anymore. But luckily, with my parents moving here and them having an RV, they were nice enough to let us borrow that for races. So that obviously it does help out a ton when you can kind of bring a home with you or bring some of the amenities that you would have at your home with you to a race weekend for sure.
Heck yeah.
All right. So I'm glad that you're doing good. You've been sat up for a while, but now you're healthy. You're getting back into life. You're CrossFitting. You're being a badass, and that's what we like about you. Now, we didn't get a chance to go to the ISDE this year, and you and I, 2012, it's like anytime we run into each other or the ISDE is going on, we just talk about that trip. So it seems, quite normal now that you and I have texted each other back and forth the past couple of days. And I felt like once I was like, Idaho Joe should be a great guy to talk. It's like, well, if they're not going to get back to me, they can't be on the show. But you, with us texting each other, it's like Jason's the perfect guy to talk about the ISDE. That's what we've been doing every damn day. So just a quick highlight overall of what your thoughts and opinions are so far for 2 days into the 90th ISDE in Košice, Slovakia.
I think, honestly, I'm not going to, maybe I'll sound like a jerk for saying this, but like that I'm such a know-it-all, but I really expected Team USA to do well. I figured we would be one of the top 2 teams. I thought like the way the team was set up pretty good and the way the riders have been riding, but I had no idea Ryan Sipes would be our number 1 guy 2 days in. I'm like when I woke up in the morning and saw the first 2 tests that he won on the first day, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Well, that was awesome. But then, I mean, it kind of makes sense a little bit when you think like Caleb was the first guy out. That's definitely a bit of a disadvantage. So I know that was tough for him the first day, but then Ryan killed it today too. So he's obviously on it. I mean, I think that's just, I think we're in a really good spot. It was easy to get ahead of yourself yesterday after the first day where you're like, holy shit, we're killing it.
Yeah.
But then, today was a good reminder, I'm sure, for the riders too that, it's a long race and anything can. No one had a horrible day and we still got passed. You know, so I don't know. It's cool, man. It's just like it's just so fun as like just a fan that Team USA is actually in this thing.
Yeah.
You know? And
I
and all of
completely
our
agree.
riders are still riding 2 days in. It's
So much better than last year where we were losing dudes on the first day. And then we'll talk about the junior trophy team where, of course, we did lose a couple guys. Well, we lost one right on the first day, but to the world trophy team, like it's so, I don't know why I wouldn't have expected what Caleb Russell has done. And then to your point, what Ryan Sipes has done. Because then I go, wait a minute. I look back on this year and I look back to the year before that with Caleb Russell, and you're like, yeah, the guy is dominant, period. The guy knows how to ride a motorcycle. But like, I think for some reason when it comes to the international level, because of the fact that the GNCCs, it seems like we have, we're sprinkled with international competitors, but you would not call it an international event by any means. And so I feel like when you come to this kind of an international stage that you kind of want to think, oh, yeah, Caleb Russell's a top 5 guy. You don't go, holy shit, he's so dominant right now that he's going to come out and just wax everybody. And it's funny that he's talking about how him in the first test being the first rider is a disadvantage, yet those are some of the tests that he won. So if that doesn't go to prove how strong mentally he is as a rider, that he can block out that kind of disappointment, as he called it, like, then, for sure, like that guy is just so strong physically and mentally right now when it comes to riding a motorcycle. It just completely blows my mind. Like, you can't say Caleb Russell can't do it because Caleb Russell does it.
For sure. And I think like I hoped he was going to do this well, because I've been watching him ride, at the GNCCs and obviously at my sprint enduros, and you feel like there shouldn't be anybody in the world much faster than him. Like, Milner obviously is really, really good at this format, as you see today, and, in Germany when he won the E1 class. And I mean, Caleb's been on a 250F beating him while Milner was riding a 450. So you're like, I know Milner's been struggling over here a little bit. So, but the bike size difference, like I figure like, dude, they're going just about as fast as you can go. And if Caleb went to the 6 days and got waxed, I was just going to, like, it would have just completely ruined my head because, like, watching him ride, it didn't seem like you could do much better than that. And then it's the case, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he is at the very, very pointy end of the field right now. Obviously he won the first day and he was third today, but we're talking like seconds here. It's crazy. So,
yes.
So yeah, it's cool, man. It's like kind of, reaffirm things that I kind of believed just, from watching these guys. And obviously Ryan, he's raced a couple of my races, and he, the round in Indiana that Caleb lost to Milner, Sipes was the only other rider to win a test over that weekend. So, I mean, kind of makes sense that he's doing so well just based off of those results. And obviously he's been killing it in GNCC, and the dude has serious moto speed. And you've seen some of the cross sets that they're showing. It's just basically a big motocross track. So, I mean, but he's not getting killed in the enduro test either. So, I don't know, man. It's pretty wild.
I think it's awesome. And if we think back to Ryan Sipes 2 years ago when he was able to come to ISDE on kind of the Wellard club team, kind of that semi-pro team, even though obviously there were still a bunch of professionals on that team, he won. He overalled the club riders. And with that overall score was well into a lot of the riders that were not club riders, that were kind of there, on trophy and junior trophy teams. So I think that, we've kind of started to accept that Ryan Sipes can be a top level, top 5 off-road racer. It's just a lot, we haven't really seen it when it comes to him racing at the GNCCs and then some of the national enduros he's done. Now, we have seen that speed, just as you mentioned, at the full gas sprint enduros. And I think that's kind of that precursor. Like, you can see, exactly like you mentioned, that moto speed, like that outright raw motorcycle talent. Like, holy shit, there's this throttle stop, and unfortunately, it's not fast enough for these guys. Like somehow they could still hold it wide open, and it seemed like they need more speed or more throttle. But so we're starting to see that evolution of him not having issues in the enduro test, where maybe 2 years ago, that might have been the negative aspect of him at the ISDE. thinking back to when that was his first year doing some of the GNCCs and hadn't even completely switched over programs yet or anything to that nature. But now that we've seen it, and also with the GNCCs, we've seen so much more consistency. He's been on the podium a little bit more. He's getting those top 5 finishes. So Ryan Sipes is obviously proving himself not just locally recently, but at international level. Is I think some people are a little bit more surprised by Ryan Sipes than they gave themselves credit for beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, you knew he would be fast, but I didn't think he would be leading the whole thing fast. You know what I mean? It's cool. But I mean, I guess when you think about it, like the time he spent racing GNCCs, those are hours and hours and hours that he's getting more comfortable in the woods. And then it's just, being able to match that. He still races moto, so still got that moto speeds. Now he's able to really just put the two together. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. So
yeah, it's pretty damn cool.
We'll just see what happens.
Go ahead.
Rains or something like that. That'll be the interesting thing.
So who was that you mentioned?
If the conditions get gnarly, Sipes, if it rains, or something. Yeah, that could really be where it starts to test his skills. So.
No, that's a really good point, because they've mentioned that the possibility for rain seems to have kind of picked up throughout the week, or the percentage possibility of that. Now, granted, weathermen, they're only as good as you can throw them, but still, I mean, to say that there could be more rain, and apparently now so day 3, which is going to be getting underway for these guys here, probably 4 or 5 hours, is run day 1 and day 2. Run backwards. So day 1 and day 2, they're the exact same courses. Now day 3, they're going to be running that course backwards. So braking bumps are now going to be solid edge bumps. They're not going to be braking bumps, and they're going to be turned around. So they're literally going to be like a wall. And then, of course, too, where you would typically be coming into the turn versus exiting the turn is going to be all wrong. So so if they do get more rain and it gets a little bit more slick, and then of course downhills become uphills become downhills, and you were telling me that from what you heard that actually now into day 3 running this course backwards that the uphills actually will become gnarlier. Is that correct?
Right. I saw a video on Dirt Rider. I think that they did. It was an interview with Thad, and that's what he said. He literally said, "It's like while riding, I keep thinking to myself, I have to go up these downhills." And it's kind of freaked him out a little bit. So I'm looking at the weather right now. It looks like it's going to be good there today, but then there's rain on Thursday. So those are new tests that they'll be riding, like they're different tests or whatever on Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, you're running the test backwards is something we do that at the sprint enduros on Sunday. We reverse the direction. So some of the guys have a hard time with it, especially with the corner ruts and stuff. But like I've talked with Caleb about it, and he likes it because he can see the exits from the previous day, like where the berms are and stuff, and he figures out like braking points and stuff based off of where they were getting on the gas coming the other direction.
Interesting.
So I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but I feel like that's definitely going to give him. Well, Milner raced him too, and Ryan has too. But those guys, it's not going to be the first time they've raced a cross test backwards.
Right.
For an enduro test backwards this year. We've done it. They've done it Caleb's done it 4 times this year at my event. So
and we've seen it happen at the ISDE before, but it's not nearly as common as it would be at at the full gases or some of the other sprint enduros around the world. So
yeah, I guess it's just all in how you think about it. Some of the guys might just get pissed about it, and if in the mental thing is such a big deal. So Caleb, maybe I don't want to speak for him, but like I know that he likes it because he told me that he likes doing it at my races. So maybe that'll be something, a positive thought that he's going to have when he lines up tomorrow morning.
I like it.
Hey man, I've done this stuff 8 times this year. We've switched the tracks around, so no big deal, right?
Yeah. I like that. It's good thinking. And that's cool to know that they've already kind of started to figure that out. That you would think about it. That's their job. Like they are kind of already out there thinking about how they're going to go find the fastest lines around these courses. So, I mean, that's just what they do. So it's awesome to hear that. So some bad news that we had on day 1, of course, is Lane Michael breaking his wrist and going out the first day. And then it looked like Stu Baylor might go out with a separated shoulder. And if I unfortunately, I've had a separated shoulder, but I don't have a clue what level it was on. Do you remember what his was? Like a AC, like a 5 or something like that?
He said it was a 5. Yeah,
he
said it was a 5.
That sounds like a bigger number than like a 1 or 2. So sounds bad,
Yeah.
right? What do you think?
Yeah, I've only ever done a first degree one, and I wouldn't want to be racing. But
Let's see.
Stewart, he's a man. He's a man. I don't know. He's just a tough dude. He's all the wrist injuries and stuff that he's ridden through, and
so a type 5. Theirs is more severe of a type 3. No. Type 5 is more severe than a type 3. I like math.
Yeah, but you never know, man. Sometimes they flip that stuff around on you, and a type 1 would be the worst, and a 5 would be the least.
That's why I don't do math.
I saw the posted a picture of the X-ray, and it did not look right. Like there was a serious gap between his collarbone and his shoulder, and that doesn't look right.
Right?
So,
you're like, whoops.
And they taped it up, and I don't know how much. I don't know. It's probably all mental. I don't know how much the tape's really going to help hold it all together. So yeah, Stewart's a bad dude, and he raced today, and now they're sitting in 4th, not that far outside of a podium position. So
yeah,
he can hold it together for a week, and they end up salvaging a podium after this. I mean, that's I don't know. I don't want to say that makes it worth risking life and limb or whatever, or some sort of.
I'm glad that Stewart put that post up though, because people really do give, and people have in the past, and they probably have other riders as well. It just sticks out in my mind about Stewart that people have given him a lot of crap about riding hurt so much, and I don't think, he put up a post. It's like, it cost $20,000 for me to get here to do this, so that's $80,000 for the team. He's like, if I go out, it's completely done. Like, the other 2 guys are literally just riding for their own individual medals at that point and no longer defending, wholeheartedly defending last year's championship or last year's trophy win. So I kind of, I'm just glad he put that post up, because if people would have found that out and everything, they would have been talking shit about him. But he just was like, listen, if you're going to talk shit, just don't do it. It's happening and here's what's going down. So shut up. Or pat me on the back, just not the bad shoulder, So,
well, it's like, agree with it or not, you have to respect the guy for doing what he thinks is right and having the the pain tolerance to do it. I mean, I'm not going to give the guy a hard time. I mean, you see people do stuff like this in the Olympics, get hurt and continue to compete. I don't know. It's he's a patriotic dude. I think he takes it seriously. He's kind of a goofy kid otherwise, but winning last year I think meant a whole lot to him, and I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to do it. So I mean, that makes I give the guy credit.
Hell yeah. Well, so like he said, they're sitting in 4th now. They've clawed their way back up a little bit. They're getting really close to being on the podium. So hopefully in the next 4 days of racing, they can make that happen. Honestly, they need to kind of get that done in the next 3 days of racing, because going into the moto, typically you don't see too much shakeup in that last day of racing. So if they can make that happen the next 2 days and then really solidify it on the 3rd day, then that final 6th day of racing will be, the kind of the cream on the cake kind of a deal for them to be able to be on the podium. I really don't see them being able to catch Australia unless something dramatic were to happen to Australia or France or Sweden Sweden. But there's definitely a chance for them to get on the podium, which is super respectable for the bad luck they've already had. So.
Right, and I think Nick Davis he should get faster as the week goes on. I know it looks like he lost a little bit of time today compared to yesterday, but I mean this is his first 6 days.
Right.
So, I mean, and he's just a young kid. I think he's 19 or something like that. It's a big difference from, Pennsylvania. So I think he'll get better, and he's pretty good in technical stuff, gnarly stuff. So I think if the tracks get rougher, and I think he'll do better. So maybe that'll be good. And Grant's obviously riding really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see them. Were they 20 seconds or something behind France? I mean, they can bet up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this a little bit earlier. One of the things a little bit on day 2 that I thought was awesome was that Sipes, though he's in the overall lead, he didn't get the overall win on day 2. That was actually Milner. And that kind of goes back to the fact of it's hard for people to realize sometimes when you only watch or only to kind of know what's going on in the racing here in the States that this is Milner's cup of tea. Like, this is what he's been great at, for years and years and years. He's already overalled an ISDE before. He's won classes before, so this is like, if Caleb Russell overalls or Ryan Sipes overalls over Daniel Milner, regardless of how the team trophy part works out, they need to be patting themselves on the back extra special because they beat Milner on, like, essentially on his type of turf. So, and then if Caleb did it on a 250F, I mean, Shane Watts should go give him a blowjob. I mean, officially.
I'm not going to touch that one. But yeah.
Well, what is Shane Watts is the one who did it on that 125
like
back
legit.
in the day, right? Like,
it's a legit victory. Obviously there's a few of the French dudes that aren't there racing this year. Nambatin was hurt. Me was doing rally stuff, whatever. But, Matt Phillips is there. He was the E3 world champ last year.
Yeah, buddy.
Bolina's there. I think he's leading E3 now, or was at some point. These are they're beating legit dudes. So, obviously Milner, he won E1 a couple years ago. So, yeah, for sure. Milner turned down a whole bunch of money to go race World Enduros to come over here and get his butt kicked racing in GNCCs. So he didn't get offered a ride with Sherco because, obviously, I think maybe that's why he turned it down. But, he got offered six figures.
Yeah.
Could win races for him. So, yeah, the dude's super legit at this stuff. So, yeah, I don't think there definitely won't be any sort of asterisk next to it if Caleb or Ryan end up pulling out the overall. That's for sure. And hell yeah, they should get a pat on the back and somebody should give him a blowjob. I don't know who, but
yeah,
won't be me.
We'll see how it goes.
I might. I guess. I don't know if I have enough Coors Lights.
You come to you register for my full gas, and we'll see what happens, Mr. Overall ISDE winner. Maybe. Maybe. Before we kind of start closing it up here, we've touched on a lot of cool shit. I'm glad that we talked about it because it's you could tell the way that you and I text back and forth that it amps us up. It's exciting and it's fun to talk about and fun to kind of research and look into. How are you kind of keeping up with what's going on at the ISDE? So that way maybe there's others out there that don't know about some of the resources that you're using.
Well, you got to get the iPhone app is freaking killer.
They did a great job.
When I wake up first thing in the
up,
morning, I just go straight to the iPhone app and start scrolling through the tests so I get an idea. And then I just go to get the times, I go to the FIM live website, which FIM-ISDE-live.info. Terrible URL. But that's where I go. So then, I don't know. You can get a pretty good deal of information on Instagram. So I've just been checking out.
Nice.
Hashtag ISDE 2015, scrolling through that stuff. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, but the app is sick, man.
Yeah, they really did a good job stepping up with the app.
Out on test times.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of sucks, and I am not an app developer, so I don't know where this goes, but you can tell that their ability to load data from whatever database they're pulling from is a little slow. The connection time's pretty bad. Again, not an app developer, so I don't know what API keys they're using and all that kinds of crap to get into the database and then pull it and load it into the app. But knowing what it takes to do on a website, there's always ways to finagle the data and make your calls quicker. So it's like, come on, guys, your first attempt. But it's awesome. No, they did a great job, and I'm super excited with it. I'm kind of in the same boat. Enduro21.com, what I like that they do every day is they have kind of like a daily post. And so, Jonty and Robert and all their guys are out there. They're taking pictures, they're shooting video and doing their stuff as well as doing other media work for other sources. But within that, since they're collecting so much information, they have a pretty good scope as well, and then they go kind of write their own write-up. And I like their language. They speak to me well. So if for anybody out there doesn't check Enduro21.com, definitely do that. And what's even more fun is you can go to the Rally tab, and you can watch Woody navigates the Baja Rally on Enduro 21. I'm just excited it's up there, so I just had to throw that out there. Which starts up in 2 weeks, and I'm not going to be there. It sucks. So disappointed.
Getting old, man.
Yeah.
And take care of old injuries.
Yep. If I don't do it now, I'll do it when I'm 40, and then it'll take me 6 more months to recover, and nobody needs that kind of BS. So it's the way it goes down. Well, cool. Well, dude, I appreciate you jumping on the show and taking the time to talk with us. And I know for sure we're going to try to get dudes on as they're coming back into the States next Tuesday. Obviously, it'll be cutting it close, but since those guys have to get back in town for GNCC that coming weekend, we're sure they're going to be flying in quick. Hopefully, they'll have 5-10 minutes, even if it's quick, to jump on the show and talk about what's been going on. But Jason, I would obviously say that you are more than welcome to jump in there. We could probably even get like a multi-Skype call going. We could like have a threesome or a foursome, maybe a quadsome of conversation. What do you think?
I'm all for activities, so
You're
yeah,
like,
I'm in.
I call top.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, cool, man. We really appreciate the time. Thank you for all you do, and we will chat
I'm on the
soon.
bottom. Yeah, thanks for having us, man. I'll talk to you.
Peace. Wicked. Now, that was a really good conversation. Like, it was one of those situations where I go, holy shit, Steven, it's 8:30. I was like, at some point, I got to start wrapping this up. That was ridiculous. Again, I just wanted to say thank you to Jason Hooper. I hope that you guys got some good info in our little ISDE talk. And it's not that we're going to stop talking ISDE. So Seiji is going to come on. And one of the things I was thinking about is, holy crap, these guys ride for 6 days. And I've done rides where I've ridden for 6-7 days, but again, they're rides. I was drinking beer the night before. We go out and do 200 something miles, all that kinds of stuff. But we're not pushing ourselves. We're taking the entire day to do it. These guys are riding 150, 200 miles a day, and they're racing their ass off. They're literally pushing themselves 110% in these test sections. So that takes a lot of fuel and a lot of energy to make that happen. So one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk with him about is how you as an athlete should treat your body, obviously the week leading up to an event like this, and then during, and then maybe even afterwards. Like, how do you kind of recover from that? It can take a lot. So that's kind of one of those things that we've got to try to figure out and see how that goes down. And while we get Seiji up, I just wanted to give another shout out, Fly Racing, so flyracing.com. Check out all the stuff that's going on there. Of course, Kenda Tire, so kendatire.com, and then Stillwell Performance at stillwellperformance.com. So those are great supporters of Seat Time. We would really appreciate it if you went and checked them out and see what's going on. And how's Periscope, Steven? Is it still streaming?
Kind of crappy.
Oh.
It's still streaming, but the audio from the mixer's shit.
Boo. Yeah, Seiji, so instead of... What's that?
I'm going to kill it here, and then we'll figure it out later.
We'll play with it later. We'll play with our Periscope streaming app later. Yeah, I told Steven, I was like, if we're going to Periscope, I probably shouldn't have pants on. Like, I mean, this needs to be something legitimately interesting that people need to turn into, right?
What's up?
Hey, man, what's going down? Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's clicking. It's better now. It's clicking in and out. It's all good.
Oh, man. Well, I just wanted to say thank you very much for taking some time to come on the show. So we've got the International Six Day Enduro going on, and a big part of that is these dudes are racing for 6 days, and we know, that you don't just drink water or eat food the night before a big event and you're ready to go. Bam! You're all healthy and fed and fueled and energized, ready to rock. Like, it takes a lot more time than that. And so now that we know this is a multi-day, 6 days of racing and all the time leading up to it that these guys are invested in, I wanted to kind of chat about the nutritional aspects and what we could possibly learn as athletes and just enthusiasts and riders on how we might be able to learn from their probable nutrition that they're kind of intake and stuff, and get some advice from you on how we could do that.
Sure. I'm not super familiar with the ISDE format. I'm partly familiar because last year I trained Josh with his ISDE in 2015, Josh Knight.
Okay, yeah.
Training in motorsports tends to be kind of cycling background heavy. It is a little bit like a stage race because it's 6 consecutive days. It's not as cardio heavy, and there's a lot more, I think, protein demand in this because you are suffering some muscle damage, a lot more kind of mechanical damage than, say, a cyclist would have. So, everybody wants some kind of crazy science. I don't think it is crazy science. I think, number one, you have to eat enough to support your recovery, your activity for that day, have a little reserve. And I imagine I've never been to an ISD, but I imagine that during the actual race day, it's probably hard to eat a lot.
Right.
A lot of excitement going on, a little nervousness. You're always busy. My kind of picture, both from talking to Josh Knight and just kind of me imagining being there, it just seems super busy during the race morning, and then it's super busy when you're riding, and then you got these kind of mechanical issues that you need to deal with. And my perception is they kind of eat a regular breakfast in the morning, kind of have to snack during the day, even get calories on board while you're active, and then pack it up at night. You want to eat as much as you can at night and eat it up at night. So I'm sure their carbohydrate to protein ratios are pretty much the same as a normal active person. I just think they're eating a lot more.
Right.
The total calories has got to be through the roof. You got to have the fats in there, and you got to have the protein to repair the mechanical damage that happened during the day. Carbohydrates, again, is the only thing that's fueling you at high intensity. And so, I mean, I don't want to give out numbers, and I don't want to give out ratios, but in my opinion, it's just a well-balanced meal and has to be wholesome food because, you know, that's what's going to maintain your health, and your health is just supporting your fitness. So,
Yep.
It doesn't matter how fit you are if you're not healthy. So.
I think one thing that's interesting is I've gotten a couple of messages throughout the year, people asking about these nutritional aspects. You know, they're racing an enduro, they're going to a cross country race, they're doing this, that, the other. Is that you're starting to see that more people are getting that they need to prepare. That it's not a it's not an only morning of kind of a situation, as you're talking about eating that wholesome meal the night before for the recovery, and then of course in the morning for then fuel for the day, and then eating throughout the day when you can, obviously, because for these guys it's crazier. But one of the things I think that people talk to me about that I have kind of gotten off the bandwagon is the supplements kind of stuff. You see a lot of people ask me about the gels and the goos and the blocks and stuff like that. And I've kind of I personally have started to turn towards Thunderbird, Energetica bars, and the like, and then of course Epic bars, because with the Epic bars you get, you know, a really wholesome protein and some really bitchin' natural fats from that with that protein. And see, Epic bars, bitches. Yeah, it's so I kind of wanted to know if there's any truth to that, or if, you know, it's a supplement. There's a place for it for sure. I mean, it's to supplement when you're not able to get the food. But I kind of wanted to get your take on where you see supplements living in that kind of wholesome natural food area.
Yeah, so you're naming quote unquote supplements that are all, I mean, they are supplements because they're like a processed prepackaged food, but the ones you're naming, Thunderbird, Epic, they're all whole food. It's nothing weird. It's not, you know, Epic bars are basically meat and some spices. So I kind of don't call those supplements. I call that food. Just a prepared, you know, meal almost. Kind of a supplement that I know can help is, so in high intensity exercise, in longer events, your limiting factors of how long you can maintain a high effort is your carbohydrates, the amount of carbohydrate you have stored in your muscles, and then the amount of carbohydrate that's leaving your liver to feed your muscles. So you can kind of shortcut it by raising your blood sugar directly before you start. So that supplementation I know can help, which, you know, the most convenient forms that I see used most often are gels or the chews. You can load up on those, say, right before you leave the gate. Your blood sugar will go up, and as long as you're active before your insulin goes up, it'll elongate the amount of time that you can operate at high intensity by that many calories. What will hurt you is if you take it too long in advance, your blood sugar goes up, then your insulin dumps to bring your blood sugar down, and then you start the race. That would be a negative.
Right.
So the timing is super important in that.
How would someone, I mean, is that something that somebody could possibly go test and play with? Or would you just say, like, do it 15 minutes before and you're pretty much safe?
And there's a couple of things that you have to people have personal rates of digesting that stuff, what their gastric emptying rate is. For me, I can do it 20 minutes. A gel is 20 minutes. The chew's like 30 minutes. 30 minutes for me is enough time where if I'm not careful, I'm going to start my bicycle ride with my blood sugar too low because the sugar's already gone up and the insulin's already gone up and the sugar went down in my blood. So Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, that's what I think. That's tough times too for people because it's like, well, I don't know, I don't want to accidentally go into that negative range where the insulin starts to come in.
Yeah, I guess the
So
safest thing to say is take it as close to the start of the actual race you can, where it doesn't upset your stomach.
yeah,
And gels are definitely faster when you slug them down with water. So you're purposely raising your blood sugar only to take off before your insulin brings it back down. So say you slam 2 gels, which is normally 200 calories, where you're pumping in 200 calories worth of sugar that you can, you're 200 calories ahead of the game.
yep,
So they have 200 more calories of carbohydrate to burn through before you bomb. That's like really simplifying it.
yeah,
So
no, all
I
right,
know that works in other sports, and I know that at least for the people that I've had doing it, works in motorsports, in supercross or whatever.
yeah,
So that to me is a supplement because it's a non-food. The gel's not real food.
right, yes, and that's
The other thing
yeah,
you mentioned, like Epic bars and stuff like that, where it is real food, that to me is like a meal replacement, like a convenient way to eat a whole food to help you maintain your total caloric intake when it's too hard to do so, like at a race or even like for me during the middle of the day, dude. I leave my house, I eat breakfast. Today I went to Andrew's Supercross track. We rode, till the afternoon. I mean, I wasn't going to stop to get lunch. So I ate like a strong bar, an epic bar, held me over till I could eat a real lunch.
yep.
So,
Yeah, well, good. That's the way I use them too. So it makes me feel better that I'm on par with the smart guy when it comes to nutrition.
One supplement that I think people underestimate and definitely should experiment with is caffeine.
Really?
Coffee.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because coffee, it easily makes me lose 10 pounds in the morning. Like that. So I'm instantly faster.
It's a fatty acid liberator, so it helps you access fat in your system for use as fuel. So, and it's a mental sharpener. I mean, no doubt. So that's another thing people should experiment with for sure.
Interesting. Well, that's good to think about that because, like, I do, like, I'll have it, the morning. I mean, I have it in every morning just because, it helps me. It's one of those things that you've kind of like trained yourself into. Well, that's how I wake up is with a cup of coffee, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I've noticed that I'll do that before a race and everything. And honestly, a lot of the reasons I do it before a race is just because it helps me have one of them extra movements to get some of the crap out of the way, literally, before I go out and ride for 6 hours. So, which
definitely experiment with that. I think it's super underestimated. It's again, it's not a weird synthetic. Dude, I'm not into supplements that you pick the package up and there's 100 ingredients. I don't use any of that stuff.
right, yeah, and I'm the same way, yeah. Well, you're kind of taking some of this back to the ISDE. One of the things that I'm wondering about, and I'm sure that you and Andrew have done this if you guys have traveled overseas at all together, is how to pick and choose what you eat and how to do it properly as you're kind of acclimating yourself in a new environment. And in this case, obviously, going to Europe is much different because you don't really know any of the food sources. You don't know how it's prepared. You don't know a lot. So how do you guys kind of prepare for that? And what do you do once you're over there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Andrew's the only rider that did this, but we carried a roller bag from his house. Basically, his wife pre-prepared every meal. It was identical every race weekend. It was frozen, put in a cooler, and brought on the airplane with it. So every race, we ate the exact same thing, so that if something went wrong, we knew it wasn't the food. He knew exactly what he was eating. We knew that he was okay with it. Nothing was going to upset his stomach. We knew all the amounts were right. So that's like a professional way of doing it, right? You're eliminating every possibility of getting bad food. You're the one that bought it. You're the one that cooked it. So we always traveled, like he'd bring a gear bag and he'd have another gear bag, and the other gear bag was just full of food.
Wow, and he does that in the States as well?
He did that all in the United States. Being in Europe, it would be a lot harder for sure. But I mean, the way that I would plan to do it is go to Europe, find the grocery stores, try to match what he was eating here, and make it ourselves.
Right.
Like, I mean, that might seem extreme to some people in motorsports, but if you think of sports like pro cycling, I mean, they bring their own kitchen, right? Like they have
Literally,
their own
yeah.
chef to control all that. Because to me, if you have a bad whatever event and you're trying to eliminate what could have gone wrong, well, that's one thing you don't want to worry about. So there are, I just got in a climbing trip all weekend, and I have an ARB 12-volt refrigerator that I stick in my truck. Same deal. I mean, I brought all my food. Like I wasn't gonna go eat out in this area where I live, where I wasn't sure what I could get.
Yeah.
So, this is my opinion. I'm actually really surprised that almost everybody doesn't do it like Andrew does it, bring their own food. I mean, it's one roller bag.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like kind of ludicrous to me that you're a high-paid athlete. You fly in and you go to Outback or wherever you can figure out how to eat. And some of those outdoor races, dude, you don't know. The restaurants are far away, and the choices aren't really awesome. And maybe there's not a Whole Foods, and maybe there's not a good grocery store. So to me, I just think it's a little odd that people don't do that.
Yeah. Well, do you think it's going to get there, that we're going to start seeing things like that at the events? Like, say, like Andrew's on the BTO sports team. Like, are we going to start seeing that offered to athletes within the big rigs, that it's, Andrew won't have to bring that anymore?
I would love to see that. I would love to see a Formula One type of kitchen where the team funds a nutritionist and a chef to make the food. But I just don't think that infrastructure or that concern exists in motocross. I don't think motocross, I'm not bagging on it, but it seems weird to me that, hey, we're going to sign this athlete. Bam, here's your money. Okay, we'll see you Anaheim 1. Like, we hope you're training. We hope you're being healthy. But we didn't provide you the trainer. We don't have a program for you. We're leaving that up to you. And we'll see you in Anaheim 1. But that's not how other sports really work.
Right.
A lot of sports anyway. So it just, I guess when I came into motocross, I figured that out, and it was odd. It was odd that somebody would call me and I would work as a trainer for one rider out of the team instead of the team.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And, those guys at ISDE, they're on a shoestring budget, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to take it into their own hands. And as much money as they're going to have to spend personally and all the time and effort, I would think it would be worth controlling your food, of all things.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you see riders in the airport, they bring their suspension from home. Like, they go through the trouble of taking the suspension off their bike, sticking it in a gun case, wheeling it through the airport, and bringing it with them. If, they're privateers and they need that suspension on their way. They only have one set. But they don't do that with their food. It's weird to me.
It is weird, especially because if you think about it, your body is just as much of a machine, as part of the race machine as the bike is. Like, it's maybe even more integral.
Yeah, you go to ISD all the way in Slovakia, and the first place you eat, because you didn't go to the grocery store and check it out, you eat something weird and get food poisoning. I mean, you just blew it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just weird to me that they don't think that way. I mean, it's even like, so say Formula One or NASCAR, they have all these kitchens and the chefs and the nutritionists, but motorcycle, motocross, dirt biking is much more their body determines the result than the machine. Where in NASCAR, I would have to assume, is a lot more of the machine, right? A ratio. So no way is some NASCAR guy going to be like, oh, we need spark plugs. Go to Cheap Auto Parts. They're going to bring them.
Yeah.
They're going to bring that stuff. So it's just weird to me that they don't bring the thing that fuels your body and rebuilds your body to make sure it's correct. Instead, we're going to land in wherever at this new outdoor national venue and roll the dice and figure out what restaurants we can drive through from the hotel that's 2 hours from the track or whatever.
Yeah, and then you don't know what you wind up with. You don't know what's going to be there. All kinds of weird shit that's going to be coming.
Dude, if I got to go to ISD, even as a club level rider, dude, the first thing I'm worrying about is how I'm going to eat. What can I bring from home? What's shelf stable? What doesn't need refrigeration? Can I freaking pack it and dry?
Thunderbird and Epic bars.
Yeah, that's all my hometown right here.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go see Taylor and Christy. His wife, I can't remember her name anymore. I'm gonna go see them when we're down when we're driving through to go to not get to hang out with you because you're gonna be at Straight Rhythm, you crazy man.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I love the rappers on the Thunderbird. Have you read them?
oh yeah, dude. No, they got some good shit on there.
Yeah.
Well, so you're gonna be so Andrew Short is gonna be doing Straight Rhythm and then of course Monster Cup. So that's gonna be on the docket this year.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
man, how are you guys getting ready for?
downtime?
Go ahead.
But in the spirit of working on what you're bad at, he wants to do Straight Rhythm.
Yeah.
Because he's not the guy that can whip it everywhere. So good that he's working on that. Monster Cup's always cool. It's kind of a must do.
Yeah. I would agree. Oh man, we got somebody in the chat room that said they saw a picture of Fad Duval eating McDonald's.
Who? You?
No, Fad Duval over there at the over at the ISDE over there. So
there you go.
Do what you got to do, I guess. I don't know. I do like one thing. I was reading the whole 30 book. It starts with food, and one of the things I like that they talk about is when you're doing the whole 30. Yes, we want you to eat organic, like they say that, but they're like, don't get so hung up on the organic aspect, and then sometimes the price that can come along with that you then don't eat these cleaner types of food. They're like, if you go to the grocery store and honestly all you can afford is the veggies they have there and you have no idea if they're organic or if they're sprayed with all kinds of GMOs or whatever, it's still going to be better than a lot of the other stuff out there that you could make a choice to eat or not eat. So I like that where it's like, hey, there shouldn't be a tier, but there really is, and that tier, it really does make a difference as you kind of work your way through, the food choices that you make.
I've worked with some athletes that really got hung up on that stuff, and it's like real versus ideal. There's ideal and then there's real, and some food is better than no food. Organic food is better than conventional food, but conventional wholesome food is better than any food.
Yep.
So you just got to shoot for the stars and take what you get.
Hell yeah. So you guys are going to do Straight Rhythm, and is anything changed with that from last year? Obviously, it seems like there's a little bit more riders. I know that they said they've tried to get the format down a little bit because I think one of the main complaints from last year is that it just lasted too long. I think they're going to try to trim it down, like just the length of the event a little bit better. But from y'all's perspective, being invited riders and stuff like that, is there any big changes that you know of?
Well, for us, it'll be our first time, so it's not going to bother us either way. I did hear from other people that went that literally, it was some crazy long day for the riders. A lot of riders didn't have the full support of their vehicles. It was a little more difficult. They just came in and boxed in or something.
Right.
So I'm sure they'll shorten it, at least for the riders.
All right. Well, that'll be good to see. And then, of course, as you said, Monster Energy Cup is always fun. Is that... Now, I've never had a chance to make it to Las Vegas, either for a Supercross finale or for their Energy Cup. If you could make one and not the other, which one would you choose? And should we go to Las Vegas, or is that just a waste of time and money to watch racing?
If I had to choose between Straight Rhythm and Monster Cup, I'd probably go to Monster Cup just because it's more of an actual race,
right?
Not just a sprint. I'm sure it's exciting to watch Straight Rhythm because people love to watch freaking jumping.
Right? Yeah.
Monster Cup's a real race. It's a little different because it's not a straight up Supercross track, so at least that's different. And some people dig Vegas, so if you dig Vegas, at least you're in Vegas and not in Southern California.
Yeah. And
hey, I got a question for you. Actually.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the motocross, supercross side of stuff, and I keep up with enduro, or quote unquote enduro. So enduro, back when I first got interested in motorsports, had a timekeeping event. You couldn't be early, you couldn't be late. You had to maintain an average.
That's correct.
Speed. Well, now you see enduro races, and they're basically hair scrambles, but they call them enduros. You know what I mean?
Kind of, yes. So what's your question?
So what now is an actual, what can you call an enduro?
Okay.
To me, you have to have the time. You have to have a timekeeping component.
Right. So yes. So to be completely honest, like they noticed that the National Enduro, the interest, the level of interest was waning. That the number of riders that were attending events was going down, and so they sold the National Enduro, banner, and so that's when NEPG bought it. Alan Rant from Enduro Engineering bought it, and they changed the format. So the format became, they still have the longer test sections, sometimes 10, 12 mile test sections, but what they do is those test sections are now, the timekeeping aspect of it is out of it. So you're still going to do, they want you to do between 45 and 60 miles. Sometimes they'll get away with doing 60 to 80 miles in a day, but they're going to do a transfer section, get to the test. When it's their minute, they say go. They ride that test section as fast as possible. Again, however long or short that test section is. And then you go through the finish and they clock your time. So if it takes you 33 seconds, again, that's just a number. If it takes you 33 seconds to go through it, now your score is a 33. So there's really no chance to add points for being early anymore because of the fact that the timekeeping aspect of it is now completely out of the window. So that's kind of how the National Enduro format has changed throughout the years. Now,
transfer time?
So you could lose time in a transfer section if you had to work on your bike, or maybe if something just came up and you're like, it's actually happened to me before because I'm such a social son of a bitch. I was at a gas station or a gas stop talking with somebody and realized that I left 2 minutes late. So I hauled ass to get to the next check-in, but I was still like 30 seconds late. Like I missed my minute by 30 seconds. And so
it's like a mountain bike enduro.
Yes, it's exactly like a mountain bike enduro. Yeah, even though, and what's funny is the Enduro World Series that's come out, that's gotten much bigger in the past 3 or 4 years. This format is the format that our National Enduro has been doing for 6, 7, 8 years.
Nobody does the classic enduro anymore.
There are still traditional timekeeping enduros out there, yes, but unfortunately, and I say unfortunate because I found the fun in them. I enjoyed that kind of, but this was also when I was a B rider. I don't know if that means anything now that I'm an A rider and I've gotten a little bit faster and blah, blah, blah. But I would go do one every now and again. But personally, even though I grew up doing timekeepers, I do enjoy going to a National Enduro type format or a restart type format, as they call it, and just going because I get to enjoy the trail more. I get to enjoy the riding more. I get to enjoy the time hanging out with whoever's there more. I'm not the professional racer who needs to keep track of every single second. And so I enjoy my day more now that when I go do like a National Enduro style restart format. So I miss it, but I'm not so negative against missing it that I don't enjoy the new ones. I really do enjoy the new format. They're fun.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I just wondered when that switch happened because I didn't notice it. And then one day I looked at a race and I was like, wow, I guess you don't need fancy computers anymore on your bike because you don't have to do this weird averaging of your speed.
Nope, not anymore. And what's even so because of the World Enduros and what happened in a lot less land in UK, Jonty Edmonds, who runs Enduro 21, he actually started the British Sprint Enduro Championship a handful of years ago, and they literally have like 2 or 3 tests that they do 3 or 4 different times on one day, and then they run them all backwards the next day. Well, Jason Hooper has now started the Full Gas Sprint Enduro Series here in the States, and there's even a chance that it, in the next couple of years, could become a national format type event in the sense that there could be a Sprint Enduro Championship within the States. And it literally is, it's called an Enduro, but it's called that Sprint Enduro in the sense that you literally start and end in the same spot, and then there is no transfer. Like you do a 4 or 5 mile test, you have about 20 minutes, so you have to start your next test. You go do your next test, you have about 20 minutes to start your next test, and then you just keep kind of flip-flopping until the amount of tests you're supposed to do in one day is done. And then day 2, you do all those same tests backwards.
Huh.
So
that's like stage racing to me.
Yes, that's very much more along those lines. And I think it just kind of, the word enduro has just kind of morphed and traveled with it in the sport more so than it follows any form of the traditional word of the timekeeping enduros that we would know, from the past, except that it still comes down to, the fastest time really does win. numbers wise. The only way that a traditional timekeeper would have hurt you is when they weren't asking you to go balls to the walls. They were saying do 18 miles an hour. So how did I do?
No.
Did I explain that well? Do you feel like you got it? Like
clear it up. Dude, lots of motocross people don't know like the difference between an enduro, what it used to be, what the new enduro is, what's the difference in a rally, you know.
Oh, rallies are fun as shit. And that was when I got done with the Baja Rally, or got done training.
That's the one I want to do.
It is so much fun, dude.
Yeah.
If you want to do it next year's my goal. My dad is really upset with me that I told him I didn't want to go this year, and I told him it's not that I don't want to go, it's that time, money, and level of effort have to all figure themselves out. And so we're planning on trying to go next year, but it is that traditional enduro timekeeping format that people really do. I still enjoy, and that's why I enjoyed doing the rally so much. Is I went and did the little training school with Rally Management Services.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it was epic. It really was kind of that way to get back into keeping the mental thought process into the ride. But it's all part of it, and that's why I enjoyed traditional timekeepers too. So if you're thinking about it, I say do it. Now, granted, we've got 2 weeks till 3.0 starts. So unless you are going to really bust your ass,
I had to plan it out. For some reason, I was talking to Shorty about this today, and he's like, "Oh, people get killed in those things. Like, people get killed in Houston every day. You still going to Houston?" You know?
Yeah, they do.
Literally
they
said
do.
Why people get killed. I'm like, well, people get killed doing all this stuff.
I know. I hate to say it, but we lost fucking Kurt Caselli to this sport, and all of us still ride. It's an unfortunate. Yeah, it's an unfortunate, weird part. But again, to your point, people die in Houston by nowhere near a motorcycle. So, and the rally that you're wanting to do too, like say if you go do the Baja Rally, what's awesome about it is you're really on the top half of the peninsula. They may one day go more south, but it's not like that's any more dangerous. It's just more remote as you go more south. Yeah. But, they're a legit race organization. They have all the supplies that you're going to need. They've got all the people that you're going to need. So to think that it's going to be dangerous or that's a concern you should have is, I think, is not needed, of a safety concern. So it's fun, dude. Yeah, we should try to get Greg involved and see if he wants to train to do it for next year.
You talk to that dude, man. He's all talk.
Yeah, I know, but he's also all muscle, so I kind of have to listen.
Yeah, I really want him to come ride with us sometime.
Well, he just threw his leg over his bike, I think, for the first time in a long time, so that's good, right?
That's cool. That's really cool. Greg's a good dude, man.
I agree. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking some time. I'm sorry for it being last minute, but I was thinking about it. I was like, ISDE. I was like, it's multi-day. I was like, people have been asking a lot of nutrition questions. I think it's good that we kind of touch on this every now and again. So obviously, thank you very much for coming on and sharing some of your knowledge with us. And good luck at Straight Rhythm. Good luck at Energy Cup. And then let me know when you want to start talking about Baja Rally. And I'll chat with my dad, see if it's a possibility for next year. And I'll get you in touch with Dave Peckham over at Rally Management Services and try to get the ball rolling.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, thank you very much, and we will chat soon.
All right, see you guys.
Peace. Woo! Man, I feel smarter. We just had a hell of good conversations on this show. So if you think, seat time, you guys took 2 weeks off, what a bunch of sons of bitches. No. We brought in one hell of an awesome show. I mean, we jam-packed an hour worth of some awesome content into that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know I did. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. So seat time. Of course, we are the online show for the off-road enthusiasts. And if you haven't even gone to the shop page yet to look at the drop catches, I'm very disappointed in you. To be completely honest, though, this is one of those situations where Steven and I and our friend Brian, we are trying to grow this media organization. And unfortunately, to do that, that does take money. That does take support. And yes, all of our advertisers have paid us a set fee. That's part of it. But within that and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to grow, we could use some support from you guys. Now, even if it's $10 a month, you buy a drop catch or you go to that Amazon link and click it every time you're going to go purchase something from Amazon, that's just a little bit that helps us, and we would appreciate that. because it is tough on Steven. It's tough on me. It's tough on our families, the fact that we do this every Tuesday night. But you got to remember, we also love it. So I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. What I'm asking you to do is just help us a little bit. It's gas for Steven's car. It's little things. It's the beer sometimes that we drink on the show. And that's why we bring it up. So thank you to Fly Racing. Thank you to Kenda Tire. And thank you to Stillwell Performance for their support of Seat Time. We absolutely appreciate it. We have already started talking with everybody about 2016, and it's exciting. It's some cool ass shit coming down the pipeline, and Steven and I are super excited to get involved with some of the fun stuff that's going to be coming for next year. If you guys have enjoyed any of the Riding with Woody stuff, watch those episodes. Send them to your friends, because right now, more than ever, if those numbers were to rise, it would be very beneficial for us for 2016. So thank you very much for those guys. Remember, you can get more Fly Racing either at your local dealer or at flyracing.com. Kenda Tires at kendatire.com or your local dealer. And then Stillwell Performance is stillwellperformance.com. Tell them that Seat Time sent you, and high five Alan. And if you see him in person, you just want to give him a little swift pat on the butt. Of course, you can find us at seattime.co. That is the website. We are on Stitcher and iTunes as well, the podcast, in case you are audio only and think that I am unworthy to be stared at, which is totally understandable. I'm fine with that. And we're on all those social bits. So facebook.com/seattime. If you want to find us there, of course, we are on Twitter. It is at seattime_CO. On Instagram, it's at seattime. And then YouTube is seattimeco, I believe, is the user channel. We would love it if you subscribe to us. So that would be another way that you could help us out. So thank you for watching, for being a part of our show. Episode 179. We're going to have 180 next week. Jordan Bailey will be back on the couch with us. Looking forward to that. And hopefully we'll get, guys like Jason Hooper on. We'll get some of the riders from Team USA. Maybe we could even do a little bit more of a roundtable discussion. I don't know how batshit crazy that would get, but hey, why not? We do, let's have fun with this. That's the idea. If you have ideas, contact us about it. Up until then, remember, always enjoy a pint full of awesome, and we will see you next week.